Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay at home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight. Got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet. Cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. It's going to be a good one this week because I've got stories to tell about my trip out west. How you doing, Danny?
Doing well, doing well. I just want to tell everybody that I have not heard these stories yet, so all my reactions will be genuine and real.
That is true. That is true.
So
Yeah.
if it's a terrible story, I'm gonna, oh, dude, edit that one. Edit that. Just take that one out. That
Oh my goodness, he's coming in strong this morning. Woo. All right.
Get your dad story going. Let's go. So yeah, I would actually like to hear about it because this was a situation that came up like an emergency, basically, for your best friend, and he's stuck.
He was stuck. Yeah. About a week ago, he was stuck. Yeah. So yeah. So part one is already up, and everybody can listen to it. Sort of like kind of what enveloped and sort of the idea of what was to take place. So this is going to be the actual what happened to everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we got off recording, and I was hoping that within a couple of hours after we were done recording, that I was going to be heading to pick up this vehicle and take off so that I was going to actually get to my first stop at a decent hour. That did not happen. What I didn't understand is that the in-laws had to get an oil change along with getting the hitch put on the car. And I guess they ran into some issues with putting the hitch on or something like that. So it took all day.
Oh.
So I ended up like going and picking the kids up from school and coming back, and I was packing in between all of that. And I fit everything into one backpack, which that was really, that worked out really well. 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I get a call. Hey, the car's ready. I'm like, finally, it's about time.
Awesome.
So I had to wait for Corey to get off of work from all of her calls so that she could drive me out there to go get the car. So we go out there, we get the car, and it's by this time it's like 5:30, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna drive to St. Louis, which luckily I gain an hour back because time change. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm still going to get out to Jeremy pretty late.
Mm-hmm.
So I get on the road, and I call Jeremy, and I'm like, hey, man, like, I'm probably not going to get to you till like 10 o'clock tonight. I'm like, you cool with that? And he's like, yeah, dude. He's like, just get here. I'm like, all right, cool. So take off driving. Luckily, like, really wasn't a lot of traffic because sort of a lot of the rush hour traffic was starting to dissipate and whatnot. So at 10 o'clock, I make it to Jeremy's place, and it was funny. So like, I'm driving there in the dark. Never been there before, right? So I'm driving. I'm like, you have reached your destination. And I'm like looking. I'm like, where? What? What's going on? And so I drive a little bit past it, and I come back. And as I'm coming back, I see a big man in the shadows. And I'm like, that's the place right there. So I roll in and get a big hug from him. And so Jeremy's like, hey, come on inside. Beware of my dog. I'm like, oh, really? Beware of your dog. I've heard about this dog. Yeah, I didn't realize this dog like fits in like the palm of your hand.
Yeah. Yeah. She's delightful. She's such a sweetheart.
She is. She's a cutie. So she was totally fine with, she's like, oh, a person to play with. Like that's all she wanted to do.
Oh, yeah.
So go inside, and they have a nice house. It was from what I got to see of it, like it was a nice place. So I was like, oh man, I'll have to come back here and hang out sometime. Get in there, and Jen gives me a big hug. Actually, it's funny. She was like, are you a hugger? And I'm like, yeah, I'm a hugger. Are you kidding me? So give her a big hug and kind of explain what's going on to them real quick. And Jen's like, I'm going to bed. And I'm like, yep, I don't blame you one bit. Like you got to get up early in the morning. Totally understand. Jeremy's like, hey, he's like, you want a nightcap? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And so he pulls out a bottle of this like bottle of Balcones whiskey that he's like, I don't know if I'll ever get back to Texas to get this whiskey, but I love sharing it with people. And I'm like, all right, awesome, man. It sounds really tasty. And so poured some of that, drank, talked for a little while, and I was like, all right, like I need to get to bed. Because my plan was, he's like, what is your plan? I'm like, well, I'm gonna sleep here for a little while, wake up at 3, take a shower, and be on the road hopefully by 4 o'clock, so I can get moving. And he was like, "All right, cool, no problem. Like you just, go out the front door, just shut it real tight. You'll be good to go." I'm like, "Perfect." So went to bed, woke up, did all the things. I was right on time. Like I woke up with my alarm. I actually woke up refreshed. I was like, "This is crazy. Okay, I'm feeling good."
Good.
That's
Good.
so
Yeah.
yeah. So 5 hours of the trip is already done now with making it to St. Louis. And I didn't think that I was gonna get to see the arch. I was like, man, I really wanted to. Like the way that
Hmm.
it was showing me I was gonna go, I was like, I'm not gonna get to see it. There's no way. But I think with the fact that I was using Waze and they were anticipating traffic further up the road, like that it didn't take me to Kansas City. It actually dropped me further south. So I did get to see the arch. That was really cool. Like I was just like driving up all of a sudden,
Nice.
like from afar, I'm like, oh, the arch. So I was able to like snap a quick picture while I was driving down the road because the kids really wanted to see it too. Got that going. Made it into Springfield, Missouri at about 11 o'clock.
Hmm.
And I think it was 11. Maybe it was, I don't know. It was something like that, maybe earlier. Anyways, Bucky's. Had to stop at
Hmm.
Bucky's. Bucky's was delicious. Brisket egg burrito is killer. So good.
Now, I don't mean to interrupt or
No, no,
sidetrack us
dude,
at all
man.
because this is what we do, but I've never been to Bucky's. I've never seen a Bucky's.
Oh my gosh, what?
Yeah. And everybody keeps talking about it. I'm like, that sounds cool, but I've literally never even seen one. So just because of like it's not in the South that I know it. Maybe now, but I was just like growing up, I've never seen it up until we moved. There
Yeah.
wasn't a Bucky's anywhere. But yeah, every time we talk about road trips, somebody mentions Bucky's. It's hilarious.
Yep. Well, so think of it this way. Remember back when Walmart came on the scene and it was all like, man, Walmart's so big and they've got everything. It's so cool
Hmm.
to like go to. That's Bucky's. It's just a massive gas station with tons of things and just it's wild. And the best part too, I love this. These people, they remind me of the Walmart people in the morning when they have their Walmart meeting, like their big old like pep rally that they do. And I used to see that all the time when I was delivering for a beer company. But anytime they pull a new brisket out to get it ready, they're like, brisket on the slab. They like announce it to like everyone. Like,
So everybody knows it's hot
every,
and fresh.
everybody, yeah, exactly. Everybody knows, like, come get your brisket. So yeah, had that, and then they have amazing jerky there too, all kinds. And I was like, last time I was at Bucky's, I passed on getting any jerky. I'm not doing that this time because I was just like, I'm gonna need a snack later in the day.
You are, yeah.
I have a picture of one of the pieces that they pulled out because I was like, I just want a piece of that, and it's easily 12 inches, like it's
Hmm.
huge, and I was like, all right, like, and I have like 3 or 4 strips of different ones, so that was kind of the Bucky's thing, where after that, because I had gassed up previously, and I was like, I'm stopping at Bucky's just because um I wanted to get some breakfast, but
Yeah.
I kept going and I gassed up later, and then I ended up taking a nap for about an hour.
Hmm.
So at that point, that's where we were pretty much at the 11 o'clock point. Because I mean, I don't remember the exact timing of everything, but I definitely, Missouri was before my nap. Took a nap for an hour, got up, basically started driving into like Oklahoma, that whole section of things. And I just want to say, I did not really enjoy driving through Oklahoma or the top of Texas and even New Mexico because every single time there was a car accident or anything else going on, these people were rubbernecking left and right and slowing down. Like, and I mean, slowing down to the point where it was like, this is unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like,
What are you doing? What are you
yeah,
taking pictures? Come on.
yeah, exactly. Like, to the point where, I mean, there were things where I'm like, are you trying to decide whether or not you want to stop and get out and like be a part of this situation? Like, what's the deal? I've never
Maybe I
actually,
know him.
yeah, I've never really like blasted my horn at somebody on the highway for like slowing down like that. And I'm just like, "Brr, get out of my way. Like, and this all came to a head actually in Oklahoma when probably the one time you would definitely not want to stop and or even slow down in this situation. I'm driving along and I pass 10 state troopers just sitting on the side of the road. It looked like they were like getting ready for something. I thought maybe it was sort of a like wide load type situation. You know how you see
Yeah, like they
those?
were gonna have to. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Like I never even saw like a wide load car. I just saw all the police officers. I'm like, all right. Drive down the road a little bit further. All of a sudden, I see in my rearview mirror a cop car with his lights on, and he is cooking. And I'm like, ooh, okay, I'm gonna just get off the highway here.
Yeah.
And him and another guy, him and another car by me at like 100 miles an hour. I'm like, wow, okay. And at that point, I'm like, are the rest of them coming too? Because I mean, that's 2 out of 10,
Right.
you
Where's the
know?
rest of them? They're
Yeah,
coming.
I'm
You
like
know they're coming.
head on a swivel, baby. Like, what's going on? So I'm watching, I'm driving along, and I'm like, all right. And all of a sudden, sure enough, here come another two crest over the hill, and they're flying at the same speed. All 10 of them passed me at 100 miles an hour.
Hmm.
And I'm like, where are you boys going? Like, what's the deal? And I'm thinking, like, maybe a few miles up the road, I'm gonna like come upon whatever it is. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
some big. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, am I getting ready to like pull up on like a massive accident? Like, what's the deal?
Hmm.
10 miles up the road, I meet up with them. They are all off to the side of the road this time with their lights on, and they are getting out of their vehicles with assault rifles, running up the hill towards the field off the road. And I'm like, oh, like I see them from afar. The cars in front of me decide that they think that this is a movie they want to be involved in or that they
Right.
want
Yeah.
to watch.
I want to be famous by getting shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're slowing down going around this whole thing, which I completely understand like the slowing down a little
Oh
bit,
yeah.
but not to like 35 miles an hour. Like give me a
Yeah.
break. And I'm like, I don't want to get shot at. I don't know what the crap is in that field or what they're going after, but an entire army of police officers with assault rifles does not sound like a good situation to even be closely around.
Right. Yeah. Keep moving. Keep
Yeah,
moving.
yeah, keep moving. Read about it in the paper tomorrow. Read about it online
Yeah.
tonight.
Get the video. There'll be a video by some idiot. So yeah, wait for him to get shot. You're fine.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly. The one that's ducking, like trying
Yeah.
to get it.
And so anyway, go ahead. Yeah. So that's
No,
crazy.
yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
that was nuts. I like after a little while after that, I pulled over and I'm just like, what is going on out here? Because it's just insane. So driving along further, we get through Oklahoma, and I rolled up on like there was a whole bunch of smoke coming across the highway, and I
Hmm.
was like, that don't look good. I don't know what that is, but that don't look good. And then sure enough, like fire engines, like four of them. I'm like, oh, this is a four-alarm fire. What we got going on here? Man, there was like a big old like storage warehouse or something that was engulfed in flames and just billowing smoke out over it. I'm
Ooh.
like, yikes. I was just like, okay, that's not a good day. So I came up on that. I mean, it blacked out like it was super thick. So I was like worried that there was something going on the other side of the smoke too, because just seemed like everybody was slowing down there too,
Right.
and
Yeah.
which I understand. But in NASCAR, when there's smoke, you drive through it as per Days of Thunder.
Oh wow, Days of Thunder.
Yeah,
Holy
baby.
crap, man. Wow. I assume that half of our listening audience has no idea what Days of Thunder is because it is so old
And your
and so
assignment for it,
specific.
hey, and your assignment, if you have not seen that, is to go and watch it because it is
It,
great.
it's Top Car. It's
Yes, it
Top
is.
Gun
Yes,
in
it is.
NASCAR. That's what it is. And Top Gun was and still is. And the second one is an incredible movie. So yeah, you do get a lot of
Yes.
very, it's smoke. Just go through it. What? There could be a car on fire, and the other side of that smoke will be fine. Hit it at 150.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hammer down, baby.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, I okay, we're gonna get into old movie references because I love just movies in general. So at one point we're driving along and I had a semi truck that he was moving, man. And he was actually like a neon green, and I was like, "Whoa, whoa, calm down there, Maximum Overdrive. We
There we
don't."
go. Yep, that's
I'm
where I
like,
was going. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
like where what gas station are you possessed trying to get to? Like, good Lord. Another good movie. If you like Charlie Sheen as a young kid, like that's a good one there. So
Yeah, that was an interesting movie. I don't know that
is it
good like
Steven?
it's a good
No.
movie, but it's like a good bad movie. Like you watch it like, oh my God, what yeah, but you got to keep watching because it's a good story.
Yep. Well, and it's a Stephen King adaptation too. Like it's one of his books. So that's the other thing.
Always a
So
little skewed, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, I was like, I saw it coming over the, behind me. And I'm like, man, dude, like that truck is grooving. Like I'm like way faster than everybody else. I was just like, okay, that I was waiting to see it. Actually, what's funny is so like, you always wonder like your phone, what it listens to, that kind of thing. Sometimes when you're talking, I had made that comment. And no joke, today I'm on TikTok scrolling through, and what is there? There's a video of somebody who actually captured that actual semi truck with the Joker face on it and
Hmm.
everything, like in the toys trailer. Somebody, a truck driver, has that exact replica truck, I guess. Which I'm not
Okay, because
surprised.
you said captured
Yeah, so
someone.
they have video. They captured video of them driving through their town in that
Ah,
car
okay.
in that
All right.
semi truck. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. So I thought you meant somehow that he captured a demonic truck and 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 now it's a toy. I'm like, this sounds like a much better story, no offense, than your road trip because what happened and why is it tiny? You know?
He rolled a D20 and cast a spell to capture the demonic truck.
Reduce. Yes. A spell specifically for that. Do you like demons? Yeah. You want to keep one? Sure. You want to keep a demonic truck? I don't have the room. I'll make it small. I can
Yeah.
just see that some warlock's making that bargain with his patrons. Like,
By the way, I can shrink all of my weapons down and store them in there.
in the back.
In the back, yeah. Just
Pop it
pull
open
it.
and give him a long sword. Shing! Wow, that's pretty impressive. Yeah. And
Very
it rolls
cool.
around behind you because it has to, but it hates doing it. Bumps you in the foot every once in a while. Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Anyway, anyway, so
Actually, no,
that's
you have a
uh,
wizard's hat that's actually a road and it just rides around it. So that
it's just
way,
around.
like,
It's like a mountaintop.
yeah, it's like, well,
I'll never get where I'm going. That's right, little demon truck. You just keep driving in a circle.
it's like a slot track. It just keeps
Nice.
going
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. Oh my God. Slot cars. Yeah.
We're
So I'm
going
gonna
old
just
school in this
pick up
conversation.
my phone and say, I really love Maximum Overdrive. I don't think my phone listens to me. I don't think my phone listens to me when I want it to. So
Mm.
I don't know. Sure, I'm not sure if it does it, but perhaps the Amazon speaking box AI will pick it up, and suddenly I'll get a preview on Netflix or something for Maximum Overdrive's coming back, and I'm like, hell yeah!
There you go.
Friday night, baby. Marnie, you got to get drunk first because you're not going to sit through this movie unless you're drunk.
That's great. I love that.
So
So
anyhow,
yeah,
made it to Texas and then
so
to
made it into
Mexico.
Texas and New Mexico, and Texas was really it was a neat drive through there. Lots of cattle, ranches and stuff like that to be able to drive around and see those as we're driving down the highway. And the other thing too is like speed wise, like you know, it was like the speed limit was like 75. I was like,
Hmm.
this is awesome. Like I'm gonna make really good time.
Texas, yeah.
And so, yeah, so I'm going, quite a while. It's starting to get a little bit darker, getting closer to the end of the day. And I talked to Corey and the kids, and they're like, "Can you get a sunset picture for us when you're out there?" And I'm like, "Sure, totally can do that. That's not a problem." So I get to New Mexico, and I was. I got off like one highway and had to go somewhere else or whatever. Oh, I know what it was. I got rerouted because of like slow traffic due to construction or whatever. So it took me
Hmm.
off the highway, kind of down this other area, and which was perfect because it was the exact time that like the sun was coming down just right behind the mountains. And so I went up this little hill and I noticed there were people parked and they were all looking behind
Oh
me.
yeah.
And I looked in my rearview mirror and I'm like, oh, I see what's going on here. So I pull over and get out of the car and it's just gorgeous. And I've got this amazing sunset picture of the mountains in New Mexico, and
Nice.
just painted,
Yeah.
oranges and yellows and purples and everything. So yeah, so I
Sweet.
accomplished what I was asked to do.
Yep. It's a good dad. You stopped for a second.
That's right. It was nice to get out too and stretch your legs. That's the
Hmm.
other thing you got to make sure you're doing on one of these long road
And
trips.
you're back.
Yeah, that too.
And
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
back.
Yeah, that's the thing. Anytime I was gassing up or whatever, yeah, I was like, I looked like I was doing calisthenics around
Right.
the car because, like,
Yeah, I get out and I put the gas thing in and then I touch my toes
yeah.
and just let it hang. I'm like, oh my God. And I feel my back go pop, 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 pop.
Well, I had one point I had parked and I was like on the back of the car, like pushing up against it and like stretching out everything, and I was just waiting for somebody to come up and be like, "You okay? Do you need help pushing your truck?"
Right. You got it in park. It don't look like it's moving.
Yeah. So when this happens, when the sun starts going down, it's about 7 o'clock, something like that. But at this point, we're into mountain time.
Hmm.
So I don't even know how many hours I've been driving at this point. Someone else that's
Hmm.
listening can do the math, but it's been a while. Um, and I'm like, I'm actually feeling pretty good. I'm gonna get me some dinner, gas up a little bit more, get some, get that all put together, drive along. And I was like, I'll just take one last like 30-minute nap or whatever, see what it takes just to see what's going on. And so I'm like, all right, I'm not far from them at this point. Like I'm 4 hours. And I was like, I can do 4 hours. That's not a problem. Like I wasn't
Hmm.
sleepy or anything. Everybody kept like calling me and stuff. They're like, are you sleepy or anything? I'm like, no, I'm good. Like I'm really just sort of like in beast mode for lack of better purposes.
Yeah.
Like I'm just you know, hammer down. I just want to
Hmm.
get this done because the other thing too. So I had called David and was talking with him, and I'm like, "What's your guys' plan?" Like this is actually like when I was on my way to Jeremy's. I was like, "What's your guys' plan?" And he was like, "Well, we have this reservation till Friday morning, and then we've got to check out. And if you're not able to be here by Friday when we leave, then we're going to drive an hour south to Flagstaff where we'll get an Airbnb for the night and then we'll go to Joshua Tree. But the sad part is that we have a reservation on Friday night for Joshua Tree. And
Mm.
I'm like, I'll be danged if you're going to miss, getting
Yeah.
back on schedule basically. So I was like, dude, I'm like, I will be there with bells on Friday morning. And he was like, what? I'm like, just let me handle it. I'll get it under control. He's like, please be safe. And I'm like, yeah, dude, totally. Like,
Hmm.
not gonna risk my life on this thing. Like, but at the same time, like, I know that I can do this.
Right. You reach a point, and I mean, especially, and I don't mean this as a negative, but at a certain age, you recognize this is my endurance. This is how fast I can go. This is how far I can go, I should say.
Right.
And especially like when I was younger, I would drive 12 hours. And I wouldn't even think about it. Like in my 20s. But again, I would stay up all night playing video games and drinking wine coolers and then go to work, and be fine. And now I can't even imagine doing that. But you
Yeah.
know what your limits are. You get to a point, especially in your 40s, where
Yeah.
you look at it and go, yeah, I can do another 4 hours. Like you said, I can do this. And you just, that, but other people don't know that,
Right. Right.
so it's good that they are concerned.
Sure. Yeah. No, definitely.
Annoying, but good. Yeah.
Right. So so I'm like, all right, 4 hours, we can do this. Get in the car. And oh yeah, by the way, the whole time I'm driving, because I'm sure everybody's wondering, like, what did you listen to? That kind of thing. So I had different music on, but I also I don't know if I was talking about this before, but I'm starting to like, get into listening to audiobooks because I can't
Hmm.
really like concentrate reading them. Uh,
Hmm.
so I finished up the like alternate world Peter Pan adaptation spicy book
Hmm.
that I was reading, which I did not appreciate the last couple of books on that. Like it wasn't yeah, it was kind of disastrous for me. I was like, nah, not a fan of that. But I also, my wife has been reading probably one of the most famous books that's come out recently, which is Fourth Wing, which is a book about like a dragon school and dragon riders and like humans who are actually picked by the dragons to be their riders and like all this. It's pretty wild. It does have some spicy scenes in it, but not even close to the level that the Peter Pan thing was, which was honestly like just over the top for me.
Hmm.
But I was listening to that, and which was great because along with listening to that, when I told Corey, hey, I started listening to this, she was all excited because she'd already read the book. So she
Hmm.
wanted to hear what I was in. So we basically had our own little book club
Yeah.
while I'm driving. So like at different points I would stop and I would call her because she would be like, where are you at? You know, in the book. Not where I'm at in the road. Where are you at in the book?
So I'm going to ask you, and I don't want to assume the answer is no, but I think it is. Have you ever read The Dragon Riders of Pern by Anne McCaffrey?
I have not,
Yeah.
but I
Okay.
can put that on my list of ones to
So
read.
all of my fellow nerds and geeks out there, as soon as you're describing Fourth Wing, which I've never heard of, but that's Dragon Riders of Pern is, I mean, again, it was written in the, I don't know, 70s maybe. So it's not like modern literature by any stretch, but it's a classic fantasy series that is just about dragon riders. And again, the dragons choose the rider and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of similarities between it. There's
Yeah.
no spice in those.
Yeah.
But I think you might as well at least look at it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I had to mention it for all my fellow geeks because they were thinking, "What? That's Dragon Riders of Pern. Come on, it's the same." No, no, it's not a remake, guys. Come on, we're
Now,
this is a genuine idea a new human being had.
yep.
So
And so the Dragon Riders of Pern, is that like male focused riders basically? Or is it both male and female riders?
yeah, yes and no, because
Okay.
there are specific entire books about female dragon riders.
Okay. Okay. Because
Women.
that's one of the so that's kind of the thing with Fourth Wing is that it's basically kind of following this one specific female dragon rider. So
Much better. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's good. I really like it. Like she's the lady who wrote it actually has done the second book, and I think she's got a third coming out. So everybody is really excited about it.
Hmm.
And they're big books. Oh my gosh, like 40 chapters for the first book, and I think like 60 or something for the second. So it's pretty
Wow.
wild. Yeah. So
See if Marnie's read it, but
yeah,
anyway, go ahead. Yeah, yeah, keep going.
4 hours out, take off driving. At this point, I'm going to be driving in the night, so it's going to be darker. And driving into Arizona, coming into Albuquerque was really pretty because the sun was still coming down. Like I was like chasing the sunset after I'd
Hmm.
made it through that part of New Mexico, and start making my way north through Arizona, and like I started to see more and more like elk signs, like elk crossing type stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. Like that would be kind of neat to see like some elk or whatever. I had David's address for where his camp was, but when I put it in GPS, it didn't. I don't know if I just didn't put it in right or what the deal was, but this place where they're at, there's the resort area, which has a train that runs through it, which is pretty wild, and like cabins. And for those people who don't want to camp, let's just
Hmm.
put it that way.
Yeah. Glamping.
Yeah,
Glamping is the way to
yeah.
go.
This is full on like national park resort type setup, type of deal, lodges and everything. And I pull in there and I'm driving around and I'm just like, there are no campers. What's going on? And so, I mean, it's 2 o'clock in the morning when I roll in at this point too.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I'm like texting David and was like, oh shoot, he's gonna have his phone set up to where like I'm gonna have to either text or call him like multiple times for it to finally like ring through. Like,
Yeah.
because the phone's got to recognize it as like an emergency. So I did that and I'm like, hey man, like I'm over here, but I'm not seeing you. And he's like, describe where you're at. I'm like, there's train tracks over here. And he was like, oh, you're in the wrong spot. I'm like, what? And so I pull it up again and I look at it and I'm like 30 minutes away from him. But of course, that's driving at like 35 miles an hour because, they're on the other side of this
Hmm.
area. So I'm like, fine, okay, I'll be there. Gosh, dang it. Like, so drive around and get over there. As I'm driving into that portion, which is much more secluded because it is all basically just campers and tents, I come over this crest, and as I come down, my lights slowly hit what looks like a large pack of animals. It was a whole pack of elk standing on the road.
Nice.
And I'm coming over the hill at like 35, 40 miles an hour. And I'm just like slam on my brakes. I'm like, okay, Jesus, I'm awake. Like, wow. And it's like that would have sucked so bad to have driven that far and then like crash the car. Like, good
It
Lord.
would. It would absolutely suck, but oh my God, that'd be the funniest thing that had happened all
Right?
year. Right. I
Oh
mean, I know it
man.
would have been awful, and I'm glad it didn't happen, but man, can you
Uh
imagine? Can you imagine? You and Dave would be telling this story when you were in a retirement home together. You'd be like, you know, that
yes.
time you tried to come down to Arizona to help me and crash the car 10 minutes from me. And then you
Yeah.
were, it would be hilarious
I
later, much
I mean,
later. It'd be hilarious.
when you read about like your my heart, my heart jumped up into my throat. I'm like, yeah, that was exactly what happened.
Mhm.
Like it was the exact
Absolutely.
or for lack of better purpose, I was clutching my pearls like
Hmm.
the old really old additive there.
Hmm.
So yeah, so that pack they go by and I keep driving a little bit further and I just start seeing because I was like I threw my made sure I have my brights back on and there were elk like couple pair here and there like running off the side of the road. I'm like, yeah, you stay over there. Like, don't even come here. Like I saw one like big bull. I was like, wow, dude, like that's a big buck. That is one
Yeah.
massive elk. I was like, yeah, you hit him, like you're gonna know it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So I roll into the campground 3:30 in the morning, and like David had stuff like he had like a sleeping bag for me. I ended up sleeping in the back of the Explorer, and I got a decent amount of sleep. He actually woke me up because the kids and everybody woke up around like 7, and he was like, "I'm gonna transfer you from here to the camper," and I was so lethargic. I'm like, "Huh? What are you talking about? Huh? Okay." And so I slept another hour in the camper and then got up. And at that point, I was like, all right, let's get some breakfast. Let's start like, how you want me to help you pack, whatever. He's like, no, he's like, I just want you to just chill out and relax. Like, you can hang out with the
Yes.
kids, like walk around or whatever. And so we were just having a good time. I called Corey and we were all talking for a while, and then we took a 10-minute walk up the trail to go see the view from the south rim of the Grand Canyon. I've got pictures of that, and that's the first time I've ever seen the Grand Canyon in person, and it was gorgeous.
Nice.
So yeah, so made it there at 3:30, and they got all packed up, hooked up, and everything, and headed out for Joshua Tree at like noon.
Hmm.
And at that point, I was like, all right, I'm gonna head south. I had their pickup truck, and I had gotten a hold of Philip Fry, and I was like, can I just come spend the day with you, or the evening? And he was like, yeah, man, sure, no problem. Come on and come on down. So I didn't know what I was getting myself in for on this one. This man has true grit, like
Hmm. Yeah.
true grit. Like there are very few people that can live the way that his family lives, and
Hmm.
I love it. Like it's great. So I roll in there and I went from paved road to red dirt road. I was like immediately in a country song. I was like, okay,
Hmm.
red dirt road, here we go. I was like, I need my country dads at this point. Uh, where's Mick and David?
Right.
Yeah, riding on this dirt road, and it is just bumpy as all get out. I'm so glad I got this pickup truck because it's the only thing that's going to be able to withstand like all the like jumping and bumping and everything else that's going on. They got canyons around on the sides. I'm like ravine. I'm like, what is going on?
Hmm.
I get to his house and get pulled in, give him a big hug or whatever, and we start talking. And he's like, how did everything go? I was like, man, you live in a very remote part of the world. And he was like,
Hmm.
yeah, he's like, this is some true freedom area out here. I'm like, yeah, it definitely is. And he was telling me that 200 yards away from him is like a 300-foot ravine. I was like,
Hmm.
wow, that's awesome with mountain lions
Yeah.
hanging down
Yeah.
there. And he was telling me that his neighbor likes to go rabbit hunting on his property, and he's like, I can't find any rabbits. I don't know what's going on. Put up a game cam and found out that actually a mountain lion had cubs behind his barn, not Phil's barn, but the neighbor's barn,
Yeah.
and that the mama was teaching the cubs how to hunt.
Hmm.
So no rabbit for you, human.
Rabbits, right? Apex predator.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so yeah, I've hung out with Phil and his buddy Morgan, and we had a great time talking. And just enjoying just sitting around watching the pigeons fly everywhere and had a good time. And then for that evening, Carla, his wife, and Phil and I went and they taught me how to play dominoes.
All right.
Never played dominoes before.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Okay. All right. Did you
so
play chicken foot or just regular?
Mexican Train, I believe, is what we were
Okay.
playing.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yep. And so I have a new thing that I can do at home DadCon because
Mm-hmm.
I have to be aware of Arvis though. He's like Jekyll and Hyde when it comes to playing dominoes. He's super nice. Everybody knows he's nice. But as soon as you put bones in his hands, like he turns into like, let's
Yeah.
play.
Oh, are we gaming? Okay, we're gaming now. You're gonna lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, wait, Harvest, but we're just playing for fun. I don't play for fun.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, from what I understand last year, he traumatized Micah Adams while playing dominoes. So I mean, um,
I believe it.
like he actually had to apologize to Micah the next day for his aggressiveness.
Mhm. Well,
Yeah,
it's really funny the amount of times that people get upset about the games that we have. Board games, dominoes, cards, whatever it is, and there's
there's
no
passion
money
there.
involved. It's just and people playing, especially like Munchkin, where basically the game is about cheating and supporting other people to get rid of another person. I mean, it's just very, very convoluted, and people have thrown their cards and like, that's fine, I quit and walked away. And like, yeah, okay, yeah, it's dominoes, man. Calm down. No, I'm gonna hurt your feelings now. I'm gonna win. Ugh. Easy, Arvis.
So we played dominoes for a while and smoked cigars, and
Mm-hmm.
it was a good time. And afterwards, he was like, "Hey, do you want to?" He's like, "You want to go out and sit around the fire for a while?" And I'm like, "Sure, no problem." It was cold out there in the old desert,
Mm-hmm.
so a big old fire was definitely helpful. We had like a 10-foot juniper fire going, so it was huge. Um, did that, and oh yeah, he's got the ability to like find petrified wood
Mm-hmm.
down there on his property and stuff, and so he sent me home with a bunch of petrified wood.
Nice.
That was really cool. I drove by a place actually down there that had petrified trees, like full on, like they were cut into logs and they were like 3 foot in diameter and another like 2 foot section or whatever. And I was just like, holy cow, these are amazing looking ancient trees to just drive by and see.
Mm-hmm.
So did that. I got back on the road at 6:30 in the morning
Mm-hmm.
and oh, also too, we got to play with the pigeons a little bit. So he gave me a tour of all the pigeons. Like that was a lot of fun. I've
Now,
got I'll
I
have
think you
all
need to
this.
explain that
Yeah, okay.
because we
So
may have people that have not listened before and don't know Philip. So,
yeah, so Philip Fry is he's very big into pigeons. He actually has a podcast with a buddy of his called All About Pigeons. I'll put a link in there. They've got some really great educational information about, and they talk to some guys who have been doing pigeonry for like decades.
mm-hmm.
Um, but he showed me a bunch of different pigeons that he had. I got to see some baby pigeons that were like a day old, and I'll put link to my Instagram because that's where you can see all the pictures and stuff.
Yeah, and link his TikTok too, because
Yeah,
I
I
have to
will.
say, watching his TikTok, it's always him releasing the pigeons, right? And these are pigeons. It's a speed thing. You want to get your pigeons how fast they get home, how fast they can make it back, and all that. And it's always some awesome rock music or something. And he pops it open, and then pigeons just shoot out in slow motion. It's very cinematic, right? And
Yeah.
I'm not into pigeons. Of course, it's something that it's not a hobby that I've ever really even heard of before I met Philip.
Yep.
So I just admit complete ignorant in this, but everyone, every time he puts a video up and I'm on TikTok and I watch him like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Well,
he's just so like, I just want to be involved in this, but I don't. Okay. Philip, if you listen, I don't want to do anything about pigeons. Okay. I don't have room and I have time and I have space. Okay.
well, I think
But
it's his co-host that actually is doing the videos and stuff like
yeah,
that. Yeah, I
yeah,
think
well, they're great.
yeah, they're awesome. Like they are very good. So yeah, so I got to do like he gave me a dove. I got to release that. That was really cool. Got to see roller pigeons and how those
Hmm.
work, which was pretty wild too.
Explain to the people
Oh,
because,
yeah. So and I've got a video actually on my Instagram. So, but a roller pigeon basically is a non-flightless pigeon that you literally just kind of roll it like a bowling ball and its wings flap in a way that it continues to keep rolling. And I guess like the world record for the longest pigeon roll is like 1,000 feet or something like that. So
Ooh, wow.
yeah, I was like, wow, okay, that's pretty wild. But yeah, I've got like I said, I've got a video of like us just messing around in the game room we were in. So, and that was really cool to actually get to see.
Hmm.
So,
Nice.
yeah, so 6:30 the next morning, got in the car and drove to El Paso. Never really stopped at a rest stop where they warn you about rattlesnakes. So that was fun. Uh, I, luckily, it's cold enough that they're still hibernating, so good there. But I was just like, oh, okay, rattlesnakes. Yeah, yeah, that's where I'm
Hmm.
at. Okay.
Yep.
Pulled into El Paso, dropped off the truck, and was like, I had the night before I'd actually bought my plane ticket. I was going to be flying out at like 5:40 in the late afternoon,
Hmm.
and I was going to get to Cincinnati by about 1 o'clock. And I roll into El Paso, and as soon as I get out of the truck, I get a message on my phone. It says,
Okay.
"Your flight has been delayed." And I'm like, "Okay." So it was like delayed by like 3 hours. I'm like, "Okay." By the time I get all the stuff out of the truck and I'm actually like walking into where I'm headed toward the terminal, it says your flight is canceled. And I'm like,
Hmm.
what? So I walk up to American Airlines and sure enough, there are just packed amount of people in the turnstiles. And I'm like, this is going to get fun. And I mean, everybody else, they look really angry and upset. And I'm like, whatever, man. Like, this has been a journey. Like, there's no reason to even like get
Hmm.
remotely upset. We'll figure this out. So I walk up to this American Airlines lady and she explains to me that there's really bad weather in Dallas, which is what my connecting place was supposed to be. And they've shut every flight down into Dallas because of just how bad it is. And I'm like, all right, when would I be able to get rebooked? Well, they're rebooking everybody for Monday. I'm like, whoa, okay, let's just pump the brakes right there. Like that's longer than I
That's
want to be in El
not gonna
Paso.
work. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. So I was like looking at things and I saw that Southwest had a flight that flew into Indianapolis. Uh,
Hmm.
and actually, there were two flights. There was one that flew into Phoenix that night and then it would go out. And I went over and I talked to the lady at the desk and she was like, yeah, we're diverting to Phoenix. Some people are going to get to their destination and others are not. And I cannot confirm how that's going to work. And I'm like,
Right.
I'm not really looking forward to going backwards. So
Hmm.
not going to do that option. So I ended up paying actually a very substantially high fee, which I'm very happy that David and his wife are helping take care of a lot of the costs with things because I ended up finding this flight leaves at 5:30 a.m. on Sunday morning, goes to Denver, 4 hour layover in Denver, and then flies into Indianapolis, which means Corey and the kids would have to come and get me. I'm like, I don't care. Let's do this. So got that done. And Corey was like, you need to go find a place to eat and get some bourbon and just relax. Like you've had a whirlwind few days. Now, mind you, so I left Wednesday night. All right. Made it to Jeremy's. Thursday drove all day.
Hmm.
And Friday morning at 3:30 made it to David and then drove down to Phil. And now it's Saturday and I'm in El Paso. So I go to this steak place and sat down at the bar. Really nice bartender, super cool. Had me some steak and shrimp and had me a nice pour of Wild Turkey 101. Sat and watched some baseball for a little while and just kind of relaxed. And it was like a mile walk. So I just walked down there and then walked back to the airport. And I was talking to Corey and I was like, I'm just going to stay here in the airport. Like there's no reason for me to go spend more money on a hotel room and all that kind of stuff when I can just hang out here at the
Yeah.
airport. So that's what I did. I just hung out at the airport. I actually like caught up on my work emails and listened to my audiobook and talked to Corey and just hung out, did that. 3:30 Sunday morning TSA opens up and I'm up the stairs and through there with no problem. And
Good. Good.
yep, get on the flight and had no issues. Like these were some packed flights too, but it was like I'm flying by myself. I don't care where I sit at. Everybody else is like, I don't want a middle seat. I'm like, fine, I'll take your middle seat. I took the middle
Hmm.
seat in the very front row on the way to Denver. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get off of here real quick. And then I was gonna do the same thing on the way to Indianapolis, but the first seat I went to was two very fairly large individuals, and I was like, I am not gonna fit there very comfortably. That's not gonna be fun for any of us. So I ended up getting an emergency exit seat, which was nice because I got to,
Yeah, leg
kind of
room.
leg room. Yeah, and it was a longer flight too, so it was nice, to have that. And then spent 4 hours in Denver, and that was not bad. There was a tap room, so at like 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm walking into the Great Divide tap room, ordering beer and some breakfast, and just chilling out there for a while. And then got home around 5 o'clock on to Indy, and had the kids and the wife there to pick me up. And the other thing too was on Thursday, that was Corey's birthday. So
Nice.
so since I missed that, I found a really fun seafood place downtown Indianapolis, and that's where we went for dinner that night. And
Yay.
yeah, it was a good time. And then made it home about 9 o'clock in the morning, or 9 o'clock in the evening from Indianapolis. And I walked into work on Monday, and my boss was like, "I am surprised that you're even in here right now." He's like, "I've been following you the entire time." So, but yeah, 36 hours to make it from Cincinnati to the southern rim of the Grand Canyon
Mhm.
was the timing on that. So, yeah, that was my fun trip last week.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you're back. Glad you made it safe. Glad you didn't hit any elk or fall
Yeah,
in a crevasse. You know, slip
definitely.
into a canyon, watch pigeons for slip into a canyon. And
Get
yeah,
bit
so
by
it's
a
good that you
rattlesnake.
get bit by a rattlesnake. And then a mountain lion eats
Hmm.
you.
Yeah. So exactly. That's the end part. Yeah. Mountain
Glad
lion
you
gets,
made it through all the hazards. Yeah, no, or worse yet, the mountain lion feeds you to its cubs because, this is a human. We can eat them too. Watch.
yeah.
No, please don't. Let the poison kill me.
Oh
Anyway.
man. But yeah, so that it was a fun trip. Keith Nagel messaged me at one point and was like, "Hey, would you be willing to write up your trip talking about like just the network and what it meant to like go do this and we can put it in the newsletter." So I'm gonna get that written up as well, so that way other people that maybe don't listen to the podcast can read about it, and I can also post some of the pictures with it as well. But
Mhm.
so I'm looking forward to that. And oh yeah, that also drew me. So like when he messaged me, I think I was at the airport at the time. I was like, I haven't been on Discord, and I looked, or not Discord. I was like, I haven't looked on Slack in a while, and I looked on Slack, and I was like, oh, I was like, they're starting to have conversations about the Home Dad Con T-shirt. I was like, this is exciting.
Mhm.
I was like,
Yep, yep.
whoo. I was like, that shirt is going to be badass. I
Yeah.
can't wait to get it.
Yep, yep. Yeah, it's gonna look good. It's
Yeah.
gonna look real good.
So that was a fun little surprise peek behind the curtain that I was like, oh, nice. That they got a lot going on. And I saw too where they've got speaker announcements ready to start going out.
Hmm.
So
Yep,
that's
just about.
exciting.
Board nominees also. We're gonna
Oh,
get those scheduled for the podcast and then
yeah.
speakers for the podcast. And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be a really, really good convention.
Yeah, I saw the speakers that were on there. I'm really excited. I saw where one of the guys for I think it was for Milwaukee that like he was there. Like the guys have done, he's a teacher, he's a professor, and he's had some of the board members actually join in on a like Zoom call or whatever with his classes in the past. So I can't think of his name right off bat, but
Me
we'll,
either.
we'll we'll get into it. But anyway, like yeah, I'm really excited. There's a lot of really good names there, a lot of really good topics too. Like that was everything. So I'm excited to start announcing those here and get that out.
Hmm.
That's everything that went on, man. It was an adventure, and I finally caught up on work, and we're just continuing on with the rest of life.
Right. Finally get caught up. Taking
Yeah.
several days off to save your best friend's family,
Yeah. Oh,
technically.
one last little additive. So they get heading up to Joshua Tree, and the check engine light comes on. I'm like, son of a gun. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. I'm like, first off, I was like, I'm not coming up to get you. What are we doing? Like, what's the plan? And it's Saturday, when it happens. So they were like, there's nothing there's like I guess there were like no gas station, nothing open mechanic wise. He went on Reddit and started talking to people about it because he went to AutoZone. They did a check engine light rundown and they said it was something with a turbo on the car. They Reddit people said, hey, like as long as you're not like hammering down and you're taking it easy, like it'll be fine for you for a time until you can get it to a mechanic. So then on Monday, they got it to a mechanic in Luna Beach, California. And he was like, great, how much is this going to cost? And the guy did a check on things. He found like a little bit of like residual oil down below and like was just like, it's probably just from like the oil change or whatever, like no big deal. David had him change the air filter. The guy, he was talking with him and he was like, hey, I'm from out of town. You were actually referred to me by people on Reddit. And the guy was like, we're on Reddit. So that kind of made that guy's day. He ended up only charging David for the air filter, even though he did like all these other like things. Like he only charged him for the air filter. It was like $40, and he's like, I got out of Luna Beach out of a mechanic shop for $40. He's like, score.
Crazy. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
And he said that the check engine light after they had done everything like went off and they were on their way with no issues. So
nice.
Yeah. So their story continues, but
good.
Yeah. But when I called him yesterday to just check up on him, I was like, please tell me that check engine lights was nothing. Yeah. All right, man. Well, that's my story. I figured everybody would want to hear, and so that's the end of part 2. There is no part 3 for now.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing. Good length for the podcast. So well done on your storytelling.
Hey, awesome. I tried to keep it within range. So, but we'll be back next week, and we're getting closer to getting the starting to do announcements for Home Dad Con and stuff. So keep tuned in, and we'll talk to you real soon. Have a good one.
Good night, everybody.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.